It's been 3.5 months since Jonny Rawlings last took the field for St Cuthbert Wanderers. He sustained an ankle injury in the game against Wigtown Bladnoch way back at the start of September. We sat down with Jonny to have a chat about how his recovery was going and what his future plans look like. I guess we start at the beginning, which is two pretty heavy injuries, one of which is now caused a little bit of shift in your role at St Cuthbert.
Yeah, it's a very significant one, to be honest. One that has stopped me playing football, full stop, finished. So that's tough, very tough, especially to come back from one injury so soon and so quickly to then run straight into one that stops me playing football altogether. So I couldn't, if I didn't have bad luck, I would have none, to be honest, but it's football.
How did it happen?
I have replayed this a few times in my head and still do. It was non-contact. Went up, 44th minute, went up for a corner, met the ball in the air, but as I've come down and the ankle joint has got stuck in a divot as I'm landing from the header. So I propelled myself quite high anyway off the back of the defender. And as I've come down, the ankle is then lodged in the divot as it is given way. And it's obviously the ankle joint's got nowhere to move. So my ankle is then twisted as my weight has come down while it's trapped in a divot. And as soon as it happened, I knew I was in trouble. I've had injuries, I've had niggles, I've had impact injuries, but that was completely different. Like the sensation that I had, it was like an electric shock. And I tried to run it off. As I've looked back at it a few times, I thought, right, I'll run this off. Hopefully it's just a break. And I went to just stand up, and then I just knew, and that's why you just see me sat down and just said, yeah, I knew I was in trouble. It is severe bone bruising, which itself can take 18 months to 2 years to heal. Followed by all three ligaments have gone. I then have a leakage of bone marrow from the same injury. I've developed a 5 centimetre benign tumour as a result of the trauma, and that has also caused severe arthritis all around the ankle joint in 3 different positions. To combine the 5 together might not sound a lot, but that is obviously off the back of the consultant telling me how it is and strongly advising me that that is to be it with football, full stop, because it goes into quality of life. And when they start saying quality of life, i.e. what you do for work, what is your daily lifestyle, what is your daily routine, that's when you know it's serious. That's when you know it's serious. And that it's been quite hard to process, I think, to be honest, if I'm honest. I think I've not had time to stop and think about it, but of course I'm gutted that I can't go out and do something I really enjoy doing.
With an injury like the one you sustained, it's not a simple, it's not a straightforward path to recovery. How's that been in already what's been a challenging year, a challenging 2 years really now, mentally for a lot of folk?
Mentally it's been tough, I think, to be honest, because coming back so soon after a procedure operation to then run straight into that, I've had to process that as well. And I've had to process being told I'll never play football again, being told it's, close to being fused, which basically means there'll be no movement whatsoever. Things like running I'll never be able to do again or anything like that. So to deal with that side of it mentally has been tough. To deal with the fact that, as I said, I'm never going to go out and do something I enjoy in any capacity. Even to drop down and play amateur football, I can't do that. So to process that mentally is really tough. I'm just very lucky that I've got people around me and the setup I'm in that have given me that support and option to just step so easily into the coaching side of things. I'll be honest, if I didn't have that at this club, I would have just pursued other interests, to be honest, and I would have just completely walked away from football altogether.
We'll go back just a little bit then as well to the earlier stages of your recovery, but outside of football, because folk who maybe don't care about football as much as a lot of people that will be watching this will find it kind of hard to understand going to your work and having to say, look, actually, I've really hurt myself here and I've got to take some time off, or going to a partner and saying the same sort of thing, or phoning friends and saying, look, anything you have planned, we kind of have to take it a little bit easier now because, first and foremost is the thing I've been doing that some might look at as a kind of like a hobby or a side gig has ruled you out from physical activity for a long time and has had a real detriment on, or had a potential real detriment on your life going forward.
Yeah, again, this is part of the area I think that is such an unknown area, such a taboo and such a dark area, I would say, because people don't see that side of it in football, in any sport. And for me, it's caused nothing but inconvenience. For the first 4 weeks, I was in a bad way, really bad way physically. Things like getting in the car, couldn't get in the car, couldn't go to the shops, couldn't come to football because I couldn't really get in the car. Couldn't put a pair of socks on, couldn't really bend down, couldn't stand on it. Obviously going to work. Again, we're in lockdown, but I wouldn't have been able to go to work. I've got a dog as well, so just general day-to-day with a dog was near on impossible. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to a big injury. That, again, we do something we enjoy, but we still have day jobs, different things we go back home to, and that completely blew that out of the water, to be honest with you. But you have no choice but to get on with it, because if you don't get on with it, then you're left nowhere but in a mentally tough place. So there is so much to it. There's so much. People just see you on the sidelines, all right, you'll be back soon or whatever, but it's just a brave face I think a lot of people put on in that position. So it's been tough for that. Yeah, it's been really tough. Just day-to-day life has been really tough.
What kind of advice would you have for folks who've find themselves in similar, or may well in the future find themselves in a similar spot where they have that conversation with the consultant, the GP, whoever it might be, even a paramedic if circumstances are bad enough, that this is it, this is curtains, the thing you love is no longer an open avenue for you?
It's a really good question. I think anybody younger, I would tell them to open up. I would tell them to go and talk to people, talk to their family, talk to their friends, talk to their club, because ultimately, from my experience, the club has been there for me. Jordan's been there at the end of a phone, and made that transition process very, very seamless. But I get not everybody's in that position. So my advice would be is you need to digest it. I think you need time to process what you're being told, but you need to listen to what you're being told, because there are a lot of people that would think they maybe know better because they're not being held ransom by a consultant that you're never to go and walk out on a football pitch again. But if you're being told no, it is for a reason, that you still have a lot of your life ahead of you to do different things, whether it be your personal life, whether you find another hobby, or you're like me and you go into the coaching side of it, that there is more to it than that short lifespan that you may have had at that sport. But yeah, no, I would say process it, talk. I think we need to open up. I think people need to open up. There are people that will listen. There are people that will talk, and it's not a burden to talk to people about injuries, whereas I think some people, myself included, would maybe feel, you're putting that burden on other people by talking about it, because it is a really depressing subject, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? So my advice would be open up, talk about it, and understand that there is more to sport and life in general in future. So that would be my advice, is just look after yourself and listen to what you're being told, and keep moving forward.
And from a kind of a footballing perspective, obviously there are sportive bodies perhaps for more so aimed at folk further up the pyramid. Obviously our level, perhaps below that as well, there really isn't much by way of support in terms of from the sport itself, the sport that's got you injured in the first place. What would you say in terms of that and having more support available to players at this level?
Again, really good question. And again, this is coming from an honest place, but there needs to be more support. This needs to be something that is spoken about at a higher level than ours, to be propelled down to our level, whether it be support networks, whether it be coaching programs, whether it be more coaching roles available, or whatever it is that could be available to go into after football. I think that needs to be available to people at an earlier stage, because there isn't support out there. There isn't, for people that don't have people around them, a club, even family, friends, whatever, there isn't a manual, there isn't a handbook of what to do. Who do you ring? Well, you sign up to a football club and you sign your papers, but they don't tell you about that side of it because there's nothing there. So there should be support there. There should be transparency in what the options are available to everybody in, I say sport, but specifically football. If there's more options out there for people, it's not such a dark place. It's not such a, oh, that's the end of it. And there's good people that come out of the sport, that come out of football through things like this, that we lose, that could go on to be a good coach, could come on to be a good analysis, a good sports scientist, a good referee. Yeah.
Player, coach, handyman, leader, legend, passionate Saints fan.
How big's this eagle?